Welkom mensen bij Onse Show, waar Onse Show voor jullie de hele informatie geeft. Ons is vandaag hier met Auntie Nicky en Rashida. Ons gaan vruchten krijgen van substance abuse en zo aan. Net een brief introduction, Auntie Nicky en Rashida.
Mijn naam is Hellenic, surname van de Merwe, maar ja, zoals Justin was nou zei, Auntie Nicky. That's short for Nicky. En ja, ik is part van een NPO called Parents Against Drug Abuse, been established for 13 years in the community. En dan heb ik ook mijn eigen, ik wil niet eindelijk een bezigheid callen, maar ja, maar genoemd Serenity Life Institute. En ja, ik zal later aan uitbreiden wat dit is precies ik doe.
Ik is Rashida Abrams, proud recovering addict and alcoholic. Ik is ook bij een organization, we call it Sankofa, it's my own. I also volunteer at Randfontein Police Station, where I deal with abused women and children, rape victims, trafficking victims, and I also assist the addict.
Welkom bij Onse Show. It's a pleasure om jullie hier te hebben. Vandaag se indive wat ons wil is basically over drugs, relapse, rehabilitation en hoe ons currently onze gemeenschap. Remember, Onse Show gaan over onze kassie, but firmly for now net toekomstreis. Van onze situations en toekomstreis. Ik kan niet wel praten van iemand anders, het is mij zoveel in die elkaar. Je ziet zo, what can we do currently? Als ik het zo mag vragen, Auntie Nicky en Shida, what is the most prominent challenge currently in onze gemeenschap when it comes to drugs, drugs abuse and drug addicts?
Okay, ik zal mijn eerste gaan. For me personally, I think there's a lack of institutes that we have in our own community. Yeah. Number one, we had a rehab facility and it was working out perfectly fine.
Het ons enige?
Yes, ons het.
Waar?
Ons was in Venusstraat, toen raak het groter. Toen trek ons Plumstraat toe and unfortunately because of social development, that came in and closed it down instead of assisting. There was one certificate that we needed. It was the Substance Act certificate.
Voor je aangaan, sorry man, so dat meen, als jullie iets recht doen en jullie het iets wat hulle soek, wat hulle recht doen, I mean het hulle gaan het doen.
Yes.
What? So you helping someone and you don't have something that must be in order, even though if it works and it's effective, hulle gaan het doen.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, like I said, number one, we've got a lack of facilities in Tukomsres. I also think the community lacks information when it comes to people in active addiction.
Okay.
I also think there's a lack of support for the addict that's still currently in very active addiction.
Sure.
Unfortunately, when it comes to toekomstreis, as ek vir Rashida like, dan gaan ek vir Rashida support in wat sy doen. En daar is die mentality wat ons mee sit. Kijk, as ons mos nou die addict sien, dan sien ek, ja, sê maar sy's vuil en sy's die en sy's die, but we don't really know what they went through to make that decision. So that's the three things I can tell you. Out of our very own community, we lack support, we lack facilities, and we even lack support from the government institutes.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Sure.
Just to add on to what Rashida was saying, one of the things that is like a huge problem is the fact that our parents, first of all, is not knowledgeable about substance abuse. You know, a lot of our parents is used to the dacha. Ons ouers ken dacha. But the recreational drugs, when it comes to recreational drugs, your tik, your nyaupe, and all of those things, people is not very knowledgeable in that sense. The one thing also that stands out for me is the stigma. That's around substance abuse, for that matter, and the social ills in our community as well. That's a huge contributing factor for the mere fact that there's actually no recreational things or, things that our kids can do to keep them busy and so forth. And for me, to see our youngsters, if you drive around in toekomsrus en jy sien hoe ons jong mense weggooi van substance af, is daar 'n groot need in die community and to get these things, off the ground, to keep like skills development and all those things. So that is just a few things that that stands out. And another thing is like early awareness. We need to get it take it back to basics. In the sense, we need to start with the young ones and create awareness around substance abuse.
Ja.
Op daai wat kan ek sê anti-niks. Ek is so gewoon. By anti-niks wat anti-niks sê dat onze community lack social development. Ek het 'n vraag op by waar ek sien baie dat like mense is 'n repellent dat mense net gaan vang word, maar as jy like sport activities en nog meer activities, skill activities wat die kinders recreate instead of die kind nog net drugs gebruik is, gaan maak 'n saak, gaan vang op, dryf jy nie die kind meer in drugs as wat dan miskien sports en skills development waar jy trots op jouself voel as 'n kind, because jy leer nou of jy doen iets actief instead of jy in die tronk beland en met animosity gaan sit dat as ek gaan uitkom gaan ek net verdubbel in wat ek doen.
One thing that we must understand is that die tronk is nie 'n solution for substance abuse nie. Dit was nog nooit 'n solution gewees nie. Ja, ons jong mense gaan in crime because they have to support their habit. Okay. So dis hoekom daar ook die crime statistics in ons community so hoog is because of ek moet nou my habit support, so wat doen ek nou? Ek moet gaan steel. Ja, en dit dryf onze kinders daarna toe. Daar is so baie gevalle van 'n jong man byvoorbeeld wat scholarship gekry het, very good in sports, was op pad Scotland toe gewees en was introduced to drugs and he's sitting in jail today.
Sure.
So there's a lot of things that pushes the guy to use. In my experience, trauma is 90% a contributing factor for people to use because they want to numb the pain. But yes, to come back to your question, yes, it does push them to do.
To that point.
Yes, it does.
So wat die kinders eintlik push, is dit lack of support van die ouers ook af en die trauma wat anti-niks. Elaborate tog net op die trauma, is dit support van die trauma van die ouers af, community, hoe die kind die upbringing en alles uit.
Ja, as jy vat in meeste gevalle in sommige huishoudings gaan dit so woes. Dat weet soms as jy nou moet kyk kinders hulle huis toe gaan nie, want wat gebeur in die huis in? Trauma en so voort. Die support structure, as jy nie 'n goeie support structure het when you're going through recovery, dan is dit soos lekker dan op 'n kontrak. You need to have a good support structure in the sense that jou ouers moet jou kan, jou familie moet jou kan bystaan. Jou vriende moet jou kan bystaan. Jy moet ook 'n good support structure in the sense that jy moet kan 'n facility kan invoer of goedjies verstaan, whatever. So ja, dit is baie belangrik in the sense that you need to have a good support structure.
Sure. Ek het by die vraag kom basically van personal experience. Ek was 'n drug addict. Ek was 'n drug addict, ek was in drugs. En ek dink vir my wat my so toe gedryf het, was the fact that ek kom van 'n huis af waar my ma en my pa is. You see, hulle is present, you see, but at times waar ek miskien nou nonsense aangevang het en ek word geslaan. There was no explanation like ontslaan jou vir dit. It's just like hit. You see, and slowly but for surely ek meet met different peer groups. Die groeps sê nou vir my, nee man, no matter what I know, dan nou 'n groep. Die ouens experience ook, hey, maar jou baas wat of jou maas wat slaan iemand cool af. For me it's like I'm now being introduced to something that can make me feel welcome, make me feel at home, make me feel at ease. So my one path leads to another puff, leads to lines from lines, no, is hooked. Only because of what? One certain thing that I didn't know how to adjust or how to work with it, because as a kind, I don't know what's happening around me. No, is it the mere fact that onze ouers kom van apartheid? And when you come from apartheid, vir hulle, besides the strictness, man, you see, for hulle, it was enforced on them. So enforced mean like, I'm going to abuse you. So it was an abusive system. So that abusive system het gemaakt dat hulle sien om sê, nee man, dis 'n way hoe ek my kind kan groot maak. As my kind nie wil luister, ek gaan hulle slaan, ek gaan teen hulle doen tot hulle luister. But the fact is, do you listen to the child that you are hitting? You see, so it's sort of like, as jy ouer my na die draak toe stoot, nodig jy ouer help en ek help en die hele situations waarin is, how do we resolve it? Because ons altyd is nou confused. Jy staan vir my because ek is op drugs, of jy reject my, jy sit my uit, ek lewe op die straat, but now I'm adapting a new lifestyle. En die lifestyle wat ek adapt, it's a survival instinct lifestyle, where I just get my fix and I'll be fine. I don't worry about my parents because they don't worry about me. So, hoe breek ons hy, or how do we get ourselves involved in that? Because ek ken nou wat drugs gebruik, en ek kom by hom en ek sê, ek as jy moet ophou met die drugs. He knows he must stop.
Yes.
So what advice can we give him without banishing him and put a judgment op it? You see, because as seer as ek sit met 'n ou wat drugs gebruik, hy's my chommy, but I just turn a blind eye. So how do I step into that?
Okay, Jerome, for me personally, it's like I said when I started. There's a lack of education when it comes to what drugs is, what it does, why do young people end up using, and so on. But I also think it starts with me, the addict. Us as addicts, we suffer with a low self-esteem. En as my mama moes nog gaan slaan by die huis, dan gaan ek net voel, ek is nie worth it nie, ek is nie die nie, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve better.
Sure.
So the moment we start using, I feel comfortable.
Yes.
And I feel that, you know what, I've got a new family and they understand me and they know what I'm making through. So I'm going to go where I think, as the addict, what is love. And it's not to say that our parents don't understand what love is. It's just we were brought up in different generations.
Yes.
In 19 whatever, was ons ouers groot gemaak en het was 'n system gewees waar as ek jou gaan slaan, dan gaan jy regkom. But now it's a different generation. We go out seeking for things to fulfill ourselves. So I won't really say, or let me say, the parent plays their part and the addict plays their part. But not one of us knows how to connect that. Because for my ma sê gaan my nou slaan en gaan sê dan die kind moet nou regkom, die slaan gaan help. And hence I'm saying it's a lack of education and our government needs to start playing their role.
But hoekom involve ons die government when the problem doesn't start with the government? The problem starts hier met ons. Why do we need to involve? I just wanted to question what I always mean. It's like, why do we need to external help when it's internal?
But remember, Jerome, I'm going to take you back again.
Yeah.
I said our community doesn't know what it is to stand as a unit.
Sure.
So as my kind drugs gebruik en het affect nie vir Nicky nie, gaan Nicky nie bother. Om te sê, Rashida, kom ek met jou af, kom ek haak jou aan, kom ons stap saam.
Sure.
As much as we want to leave our government out of it, but they've got the financial capacity. They're sitting with all the resources to assist the communities. And it's not like we haven't been and saying, listen, we need your assistance. Here's a program that is going to work. And we know it's a working recipe. They just don't jump on board. So hence I'm saying it's a lack of education and it's the different generations that we also grow up.
Just to add on to that, you know what ons ook moet verstaan, you know, we also sit with a lot of adults that's been affected as kids. So we grow up with a lot of broken adults. We've got a lot of broken adults walking around in our communities in that sense. So we tend to bleed on people that didn't hurt us. So jy gaan kom kry en I'm currently busy working on a case that die kind reageer so en toe ek nou eventually, agter die kap van die byl aankom, is dit because of X, Y en Z wat in die huishouding gebeur en the child is not acting up because of what's happening in the household. So dit is ook een van die contributing factors onze ouers. Ja.
Ek jammer aan niks. Ek het aan 'n documentaire gekyk waar hulle sê like 'n kind se lewe is 'n whole is uitgeset van 1 jaar tot 6 jaar.
Kom ons sê 0 tot 7.
0 tot 7 wat as hy en wat ons in ag moet neem is dat kinders is die dommie. Kinders is die most smartest op die aarde. Wat die kind sien met aksie, gaan die kind na reageer instead of wat die kind verbally. Moenie dit doen nie. Is soos jy drink 'n bier. Ek drink 'n bier en ek sê vir die kind, maar jy moenie bier drink nie. Hy kind gaan maar luister, maar hy kind sien met aksie dat my pa drink aan 'n bier of my ma drink aan 'n bier. En so gaan dit soos die kind groter raak is daar mos nog ander substances. Wat ons ook onder die mat fear, soos Rashida gesê het dat sy's recovering alcohol addict. Ek dink dit speel ook 'n part in society waar dit erger gaan raak waar mense so by die recreational kant toe kom met tuk en ket en wat die ander drugs is. Dit begin by die alcohol ook. So ek dink soos Rashida ook gesê het like ons inform mekaar as ouers en ons is nog hy bang ons is nie oopie.
Ja, dit is 'n groot probleem, 'n groot stigma. Ek wil nou nie hê Jerome nou weet my kind is op substansie of die gemeenskap moet weet. I mean, when we at the center, there was like parents that would tell us that ek dink my kind gaan na die rehab toe, wil kom hy wil daar buite gaan, na 'n ander rehab toe gaan. But for me it is, you live in this community, you use in this community, and you can recover here if as
be a
a
model for the community.
So dit is 'n groot ding, stigma, en soos jy sê onder die mat vee, dis 'n groot probleem.
No, Auntie Nicky. ek dink ek was baie excited 13 jaar gelede met Padda. Parents Against die community was op rauw men up in arms tikkie. Ek ken nog hy titans beklei Auntie Nicky met elke draak lood maak jy huis toe en but just like that it's out again. So wat het van Auntie Nicky geblok om my op 'n continuous basis te sit, because it helped for a certain period of time, but again toe se dan weer terug.
I think the focus shifted as we went along. En ons het gegroei as 'n organisasie en so het die needs ook verander, in the sense that ons moes awareness campaigns doen to create awareness and so forth and so forth. Maar so het daar ook baie mense toe na vore toe gekom en hulp gesoek. So ons moes dan nou van, ek sal maar sê van 'n awareness point of view, dan nog gaan en hulp te gaan verleen aan mense wat nou hulp gesoek het op daai stadium. So ja, ons fokus het definitief verander van wat ons mee begin het en waar ons toe nou maar opgeëindig het op die einde van die dag, waar ons dan nou referrals gedoen het na rehabilitation centers toe, families het ons toe nou gehelp om kinders in die rehab centers in te kry. Ons het funds gereis. So sponsorships wat ons gekry het ons gebruik om families te help om weer kinders in die rehab center in te kry. Dit was regtig 'n groot ding geweest toe die gemeenskap opgestaan het.
Yes.
En ek sê dit elke dag en ek sal dit weer eens sê. If only we could continue what we started,
Sure.
at the momentum that we started at. Dink ek dinge kon beter gewees het in die gemeenskap en maar due to a few certain things that happened, maar soos jy sê, ja.
En ons is nou op die oomblik, né? Is 'n Saterdag. is 'n normal gewone hasseldag vir 'n drug addict. Wat 'n movement kan ons nou initiate of wat 'n movement kan ons help om te sê nee, kom ons kom by mekaar. Ons hoef nie goed te magically te laat happen nie, but wat se information is daar? Soos Rashida sê, ons gemeenskap is bietjie baie ill-formed. So in high regards, because it's sad to see that on a daily basis, a drug erger. It doesn't get better. A drug net erger.
Jerome, ek dink ons is verby die stage van awareness. And gaan uit en gee pamphlets. I think we now more on that stage where it's referrals. So to be honest with you, I'm taking you back again. If we look at life, life recovery, you need to wait for 6 weeks to get in, and you're there for 6 weeks. So ons kan nie bly wag en wag. As die addict nou help, so gaan my om nou help hier. So the cycle will never change. It takes us back to the infrastructure that we need as a community to start our own rehab center. And it's not like we can't. We can. It's not impossible. I'm going to take you back to the government again. They just need to say, yes, the funds, do what you need to do. Ons is pas pamphlets uitgee en sit en praat met Jerome en Jerome kom en sê, Rashida, ek soek help. Ja, kan jou help, but you need to be willing to wait for 6 weeks. The addict doesn't have that. So we need to say, you come, ja, ek soek help, we refer you immediate intake, not after 6 weeks. So dis wat ons nodig het. As ons kan saamstaan as 'n collective, it's not impossible. But we just need to know that we passed that stage of saying awareness. En as iemand nou with my hand say awareness, dan gaan ek bars. We need to refer and we need to assist. That's the stage that we at now in toekomsrus. The need is so big, Jerome, that on a daily basis, 3 to 4 addicts come and say, I need help. And us being there and saying we're assisting the community, do you know, you feel like a failure because I can't assist Justin today. I can't assist Jerome today. I'm going to take your things, I'm going to send it in, but you need to be willing to wait. En jou pa Erik gaan nie wag vir my nie, want as die pikaram slaan aan, ek kry die withdrawals, gaan hy nog vir hom aan met die plan die hand rook. So we need a facility where we say immediate intake.
So dan moet like 'n budget uitgesit word van die government af om dit te cover.
Justin, weet jy wat nee? The budget is not the problem, but they also need to understand that it takes the addict to help the addict. Ek kan nie vir Nicky, ek sê nie bedoel snaaks die woord. Nicky is met die boeke. Verstaan jy? En Nicky verstaan ons nou met die boeke. Maar Rashida het ons nou al physically deurgemaak. So Rashida gaan beter vir Jerome kan help. Instead van wat Nicky gaan kan doen. Do you understand? So it takes the addict to help the addict. And I can guarantee you, if you go to, we work with a few private facilities. And the owners that runs the centers are addicts. And if you look at their recovery rate.
Perfect.
Okay. Voor ons op onze break gaan, ek wil hê ons gaan op die meer net aan Nicky. Like, what is the key elements to prevent a relapse? Because ek het al relapse and I don't know why. It just felt good. Ek voel out wolf as ek kan sê, oh, die ouens dan nou, hy is nie ek voel nog soos hy is. Then what's the prevention for relapse? But I think die kom ons vir my ry nou as ons terugkom.
Ja, hy's 'n man wat is verwag.
Ja, so Nicky, Rashida, soos ons voor ons break toe gaan het ons gepraat oor the relapse. So I would really like to know more about that. And where does it actually come from? Like, who reside a relapse thought in iemand wat nou gedesired om to change and now again he or her is find themselves back into the cycle?
Jerome, I think it depends on what you're currently going through. I know when my mom passed on, I was strong enough to say that, you know what, I'm going to fight this. Even though the urge, because I wanted to numb the pain, the urge was there for me to pick up and have that drink. I also think because of my family that understands where I'm coming from. So the support structure for me was
Enormous.
it was huge. So I didn't. But then recently I lost my daughter. And that for me, I think I also spoke to Hellenic about it, and I said I feel like I need to use, I feel like I need to numb the pain, I cannot stomach it, but hence why I'm saying, and then I remembered my 5 pillars. So your 5 pillars, it's your meetings. For an addict, you need a meeting with other addicts because we, like I said, we understand each other best. Then you get your service point. Your service point is where you go out and you reach out to others, you know, that needs assistance, that
Your
needs
fellow
help.
addicts.
Yes. Then you get your step work, where you sit and you do your introspection, where you actually write. You read and you write. Because the questions that they ask in your step work, it's quite deep. So it's for you yourself as the individual, and you need to be honest enough to answer those questions honest enough, you know. And then, what did I now say? At your meetings, your step work, your service, then you need to speak to your sponsor. So your sponsor is someone that's got quite a good clean time behind them. It's someone that you know, normally people would go to a counselor, but I would go to my sponsor. And my sponsor would lash out at me if she needs to. She'll tell me, you know what to do. She'll give it to me. You know, it's like your mentor. It's like your mother. It's that criticism, but it's a positive one where they are assisting you, but also I tell you what you need to hear. You know. And then your last point is your God of your own understanding. So I lean on the God of your own understanding.
The God of your own understanding.
Yes. Some call it a higher power, some call it the God of your own understanding. Remember when we addicts or we in active addiction, drugs doesn't ask if you Christian, Indian, Hindu,
black,
white, colored, whatever the case might be. It takes whatever it wants to take from you. So the God of your own understanding, as ek gaan sê is my Here, you know. He's the person that I lean on and I go to and I cry to, and he makes me feel better. So for me personally, that alone are my 5 pillars, and I need to stick to it. If I don't stick to it as an addict, I'm going to relapse. Because if I entertain the active monkey, I'm going to land back. You know, but it's like I said, we don't all have that support structure. We don't all have that privilege where we went to a facility where we can learn about 5 pillars. And that's why it's important for us to come back to the community, to assist our community and say that, no, this is what you do. This is what we guide until we can, you know, and where the addict feels that, you know what, I need this more than I need anything else. It's my recovery before my children. It's my recovery before anything else, because without my recovery, my kids will never have a mother. Without my recovery, my family will never have Rashida. So they understand the importance of the support that I need as an addict. But it's different reasons why people actually relapse. It's like Nicky was saying, some people it's trauma. Some people it's just the urge of ek sien of Jerome up and easy monkey net active and then I'm gonna up. So yeah, that's what I can say.
From our side, relapse for me is, for me, if you pick up today, that for me is not a relapse. For me, a relapse is like when you go back to your old habits before you started recovering. So if you then go back to your old habits, doing what you used to do before you went into recovery, that for me is a relapse. Also very important, relapse prevention in the sense that you need to identify what your triggers. That's one of the most important things that jy moet weet wat vir jou trigger. Of sê byvoorbeeld listening to certain types of music het vir jou getrigger, of while you in active addiction, jy het na dit geluister en dit het jou getrigger miskien om te gaan na rook or whatever. Die situation by die huis trigger jou. So you need to identify your triggers, very important, and you have to put measurements in place om te deel met die trigger if it arises. And the most important thing when a trigger comes up is that to keep yourself busy for at least 20 minutes. So if you can keep yourself busy for at least 20 minutes when your trigger comes up, dan gaan jy oor die ergste van jou trigger. And the other thing is when relapse occurs, weet ons jong mense gaan in rehab toe, you know, hulle rehabilitate nou daar, but when they come back to the same situation at home. So daar's niks veranderinge wat in die huis in plaas gevind het nie, want dit is ook maar hoe dit gaan. Jy moet rehab toe gaan. Jy het die rehabilitation nodig. Maar nie ons nie. Maar although jy infected is, word ons geaffect as a family, and so the bigger community for that matter. So is nie die edit wat moet meetings loop en support nodig het, so ook like die ouers, die siblings het ook support nodig om te recover, because onthou die ouers gaan net so veel deur goed as wat die edit deurgaan. En as jy moet kyk hoeveel ouers ly aan depression, anxiety, it's this is that. Maar vir my die mees belangrikste ding is relapse prevention. Wat se measurements het jy in plek gesit om het te kan prevent? Ja, soms sê hulle dit is part van recovery. It's inevitable. Maar you need to be proactive about it. Dit hoef nie op 'n relapse uit te gaan as jy proactive rondom jou recovery is en te sê, weet jy wat, X, Y, and Z, and this is what I'm going to do to, like, you know, prevent. As in die recovery is, you get your acute withdrawal symptoms, is wat enige addict deurgaan when it goes to the detoxing in your first few weeks and so forth. But there's also another thing which they call PAWS, your post-acute withdrawal symptoms, which is your psychological and your emotional withdrawals. So that is the crucial stage waar your addict gaan, that you don't realize is, hulle gaan in hy stage and that's where the depression also comes in en goed is hy, so baie belangrik ook om met dit ook te kan deel when it comes up for the
so ja, die wat ek af kan lê wat dan Nicky sê met die familie is 'n circle, die trauma is 'n circle, it's a never ending story waar die addict gee die familie ook trauma, soos die familie die addict trauma gegee het, so is a give and take. So die familie as a whole moet eintlik weer aan die wat die addict deurgaan.
Yes.
En dan kom ek op wat Rashida gesê het van as dit die stepping stone by introspection moet doen. Ek dink step work by introspection moet doen as persoon. Dit coincide met wat Nicky sê met die trauma. Ek dink ons almal op aarde gaan deur somewhat of 'n addiction aan iets. Dit hoef nie eens drugs te wees of substances of 'n klein ding waar jy net moet like introspection doen en sê okay, right, maar die is eintlik die rede hoekom die trigger wat my tot die toe lei en dan die volgende mens ook aantas wat kan lei tot op enige substance abuse.
En soos jy daar sê, it is like so crucial in the sense that you know, the drugs is net addiction. You get porn, you get shoes, it's bags wat jy moet koop. So enige iets wat jou dryf tot impulse, ja. Dit is addiction. You know, and for any behavior, if you want to change any behavior, you need to understand what drives that behavior and what triggers that behavior. And up until you don't identify with what the behavior like trigger and what it cause, can only change plaasvind. So the moment you start realizing that, then you can start making like positive changes. And with addiction, you have to go to the root cause of the problem. Jy kan nie substance abuse treat, dan weet jy nie waar is die root cause van die probleem. Soos om dokter toe te gaan. Ek gaan net gou na met die dokter toe, my kop is seer. En die dokter gee vir my groen panados en pink panados en watse panados en watse pille
Proefens
en whatever. Maar die dokter gaan ook nooit na die actual cause gaan kyk. Miskien moet ek vir 'n CAT scan gaan of 'n MRI, laat ons miskien kyk of haar pinched nerve is or something. So with substance abuse, you cannot keep on treating the symptoms. You have to get to the root cause of the problem. And as soon as you deal with the root cause of the problem, dan kan healing begin, dan kan progress begin, dan kan recovery begin.
Can I just add, remember when it comes to relapse, it's like a premeditated murder.
Okay.
A relapse is something that you feel coming on for a very long time. We seem to ignore it. It's like a premeditated murder. You know it's coming. You feel 2 minutes and say, niks kyk, let's not go. Then Nicky takes me off it. The thought comes again. I start entertaining the thought, and next best thing, I pick up that drink and I have that first thing.
So before you do it physically, already it starts
mentally, yes.
Mentally.
It's like a premeditated murder. Unfortunately, it's like I said, not everybody has the privilege to go to a center where they get taught these things. But also, the information is there. But you as the individual needs to have your own spiritual awakening, where the penny will drop and you know that now I'm going to work on me because I need to fix me for me.
No. Die ander ding wat ek ook wil vra is, why do we need rehabilitation centers? En die vraag stem van die af. So, ek gaan, kom ek sê bijvoorbeeld, ek het drugs gebruik in toekomsrus. So I know my roots, it's down Blackberry, oranje, get my hit, hier moet ek my ouens, then we do it, then it's done. But now, die route, soos Nicky gesê, die route change. It's still here. The drug dealer change. It's more drug dealers. So how does a facility that's outside of Tukkies or the facilities in Toekomsrus, but I'm still facing the drug dealer every day? Is it important for facility to be there, or do I need to do it on my own as a druggie? Or what is eintlik dan? Because my recovery happened actually through the process waar ek mos nou, when I went to prison, ek moes dit daar gelos because dad was like, yo, ek het hoop nonsense aangevang. Kyk waar het my gebring. There's no one here that says, maak 2 lyne daar. There's no one that says, had jy vir die straatweg? No one. I had to deal with my own. And that was only the lights that go on from there onwards. So, how important is a facility for those that can't afford it and for those that can afford it?
Ek gaan nou vir jou so sê, ja, daar is mense wat rehab nodig het en daar is mense wat dit op hulle eie kan doen. Soos jy daar gesê het, dit hang ook af van die individual af. What your current mindset is. En hoe willing is jy om te recover? You know, one of my company's missions is street sobriety. Street sobriety in the sense that to stay sober in an environment where there is substance.
Sure.
You know, so onthou jy kom uit die rehab uit, dan moet jy nog steeds terugkom in die gemeenskap.
Yes.
En daai sens van, nee, ek wil nie weer hier bly nie. Waar gaan jy bly? Want waar jy gaan oral die konde gaan dit daar wees.
Yes.
So your mindset, that's the most important thing. You have to change your mindset regarding your recovery. You have to change your mindset that, you know what, irrespective of ek nou af in Blackberry straat gaan loop, verby Justin se huis wat nou drugs verkoop, dit moet my nou nie eens nou, dit soek nou nie vir my nie, because you know what, I need to move past that. Maar as jy dit gaan, wat dit jou beïnvloed in die sens dat dit gaan jou trigger, as dit vir jou 'n trigger is, you need to work on it. Maar ja, daar is sommige mense wat definitief rehabilitation nodig het, also to be reintegrated back into society. Onthou van die ouens is like word like meeste, laat ek sê, like word geoutcast because of your doings en wat jy gedoen het en so daar is like a safe space where you can find yourself again, where you learn to operate and do certain things en die nodige skills kry wat jy nodig het om dan in te kom in society om X, Y en Z te kan doen. So yes, some guys can do it and some guys can't. But you do need.
Ik het voor de record voorbij Justin zei is poeperroller als die tractie mensen. Ik heb een persoonlijke met een hele paar vrienden die gegaan waar als hulle drugs gebruiken en zo aan, dan they tend to become manipulative. Waar ze steel van jou af of iets van jou af, like hulle praat en niks hulle ken hy sagte hondjie wat aan maar die persoon het gesteel het. Only to come find out dat die persoon gesteel het. Hoe ver kom het af dat die persoon tot op high level kom waar hy hom kan terugkry uit die situation en wat hy nou daar is om mense te manipuleer en because ek dink die maak dat mense addicts afskryf. Men hy van jy lieg te veel of jy vat te veel.
That's one of the traits of a drug addict, manipulation. That's one of the biggest traits of any drug addict, manipulate. Not even just friends, manipulate mom and dad. You manipulate yourself for that matter.
Sure.
But that's one of the main
So dit kom af wat Rashida gesê het, ons is nie well informed hoe ons lewe met dit, ons sien dit en alles, maar ons is nie eintlik informed hoe om hy te challenge as hulle manipulate te vra, hoe kan ons, maar jy doen dit nie so nie, ek sien wat doen jy, vergrade so, laat het, because ek dink in enige persoon, daar is 'n spirit within, wat jy ook sê, nee, maar die is verkeerd, die is reg, die is verkeerd, so, as hy gehamer word by maar, hoe manipulate.
Maar onthou, sorry Rashida, onthou at that stage, wanneer hy manipulate, is vir 'n rede, because I need to get my fix. Ek moet nou hustle, want die son trek nou water, so laat ek gou kyk waar kan ek hoe ver kan ek jou dryf, en, so daar's 'n rede hoekom hulle manipulate.
Okay.
Just to go back, Jerome, you asked the question and then Justin also asked the question. Just to sum it up, remember it takes 45 days to break a habit and 45 days to build a new habit.
Yeah,
so that's for the addict. In total, it's 90 days.
3 months.
Yes. You need that 3 months because in I eerste 45 days as you against the world.
To break it.
To break your habit.
Okay.
Onthou, daar is nou waar ons, onthou as addicts kan ons lieg hoor. Nie ons kan 'n zebra wat lieg. Ek sê julle die waarheid. Ons lieg, ons steel, ons manipulate. That's all our traits. Do you understand? And no man ek nou die cycle change. And as much as I'm in a facility or I might be changing my life, the family also goes through that. So it takes 45 days for the family to break that cycle and 45 days to build a new cycle. And this is what people don't know. There's groups for the addict and there's groups for the family. So for the family, where you guys go to your group sessions or you can do it online now or whatever the case might be, but it teaches you how to manage with the addict when they come back.
To 45 days.
It takes 90 days. So as you 3 months.
Ja.
Right. Nou kom jy nou huis toe. Jy kom nou na ek en Nicky toe. En ek en Nicky het ons nou klaar ook geprepare vir 90 days. So as jy kom weer met 'n skelm, Rashida weet jy dat die brood of my tikkie gebars ek moet, then we know because we also got prepared. Verstaan jy? So it's a even up where they've got your AA and NA and then here they've got your Naranon and Eleanor. Where it equips the parents and it also equips the addict.
Sure. So ik het ook nog een vraag mee. How do we assist before ons afsluit? How do we assist the current user wat nou vars begin het lyne gebruik? Alles wat nog confused, wat nou hy lekker feeling kry as hulle in die heat is. Hulle is nog nie they don't know what's gonna come after this. They don't know. They still can afford it. Hulle lyk nog mooi, hulle kan nog wegsteek, hulle gebruikie. How can we inform those ones that are watching to say like, Ella, your mental health is at stake. Ella, your future is at stake here. Ella, your family is at stake here. Like, how can we help them? Not to convince them ophou te gebruik, just to inform them. Remember, sometimes mense dink as jy information gee, jy wil hulle convince. We're just giving you information. Yes.
With addiction, you get 4 stages of addiction. You get the use, you get the misuse, you get the abuse, and then you get the addiction. En as ek nou moet kyk na die current state van ons gemeenskap, is meeste van ons like addicts in addiction in. Daar is like die odd percentage wat in jou misuse is en jou use is. So meeste van ons ouens val in die abuse en die addiction stage.
Sure.
Om vir iemand byvoorbeeld in jou wat use, you know, that's the guy that has got it under control. Soos jy nou gesê het, hy kan dit nog manage en so aan. But one thing that one must realize is, jy dink jy het under control. Up until that day, wanneer alles uit control het spiral en then, ja, dan hierdie pop op die fan en die hele put is pad. So, it is really that sense that jy dink jy het under control.
Yeah.
But meanwhile back at the ranch, rafel het uit hier in die onderkant in. En dit is waar, en especially die ouens wat soos like alleen rook. Nee, ek rook alleen, want, you know, ek kan het, nou.
Bekostig.
En, ja, en ek ken van baie ouens wat gebruik, wat werk, they've got a great job, en hulle maintain it, because they can still afford it. Maar nou kan jy dit nie weer afford nie, dan wat gebeur?
Or they lay you off at work and...
Ja, dan begin die depression, die anxiety, die selfmoord, thoughts en al sulke goedjies. Begin dan op die einde van die dag. Maar hoe convince jy iemand soos hy? One thing that one must realize is that jy kan nie, I cannot want recovery for you if you don't want recovery for yourself.
Amen.
You know. Ja, ek kan met jou gaan praat, I can plant the seed and, you know, we can water the seed. But up until that day that you're not ready for recovery, kan niemand maar niks doen nie. Jy kan maar op jou kop staan en sorry maar red jou agterin sing, daar's niks wat niemand kan doen nie. So, up until that day that you realize ek jou raam nodig help en ek gaan nou hulp gaan soek, yes, that is the day wat die liggie seker nou maar aangaan and that's where change starts. But up until that day, niks in niemand nie. Soos ek sê, ja, you can steer them in the direction of, you know, awareness, you can do this, you can do that, but up until that time, is daar niks eintlik wat jy regtig kan doen.
Ja. With all of that information, hoe kan mense get hold of you, Shida? How can people get hold of you, Nicky? Anything on the socials or anything?
Privately.
Yes, privately can get hold of it. Because ek dink in ons gemeenskap, we need this type of information. Because this vital information. People are lucky that get out of the addiction and then they get saved. You see, hoe kan ek nou sê, with die self-help. And then there's those that aren't lucky, that are still trapped there. You see, and these are information that can help people like that.
Ja, to alert the community
Yes.
en community broader ten toekomsloos. Wat ons begin om ons in toekomsloos.
Yes.
Ja.
So, ek dink ons numbers lê all over in toekomsrus and I normally give my personal number because I know the need is big in toekomsrus. We don't just get calls from toekomsrus, we get as far as from KZN and Yokuruman and wherever, and we assist where we can. So I'll give my number
Yes.
to whoever needs assistance. For me, time is not really an issue, but if the addict needs help and I can assist now, I will do that. There's just one thing, you know, we normally just speak about the males, and I know for females it's a very painful issue that they go through. So I just feel the urge to touch on that before,
Yes.
yeah.
No problem.
Remember, with the female, it's very difficult. I've helped a lot of females. That comes from trafficking. That comes from, houses and stuff like that. So I want our young females to actually realize that you can't be going down that route. As much as you even just started with it, this is the opportunity to stop it. You'll open your eyes and see things that you never thought you would see, end up doing things that you never thought you would do. Because for the guy, Justin says, can't row off, we can't go for Justin row off. For the female, you go out and you literally have sex with someone. You sell your body, So this is a very, very painful issue for me, because most of the clients or the people that I get, it's females, and the need is very, very big. I think Helene can attest to that. It actually gets me very emotional when I speak about it. But I just want our females out there to know that when you stop immediately. It takes them into a drug-induced psychosis. It takes them where they literally lose who they are.
Yeah.
So my number is 079 411 6422, and it doesn't really matter what time it is, but if you need assistance, I'm there.
From my side as well, just to elaborate or just to add on to what Rashida says, in terms of females, it's also one of the areas where we lack in terms of facilities, safe houses. You will call a center and ask for assistance, and it's like we only do females, we don't do males. I mean, Rashida worked. She ran a female facility for one of the rehab centers that we worked with or working with. So it's really, really, really heartbreaking when you go out in the community or to places and ask for safe houses, you ask for facilities, to get help and assistance for females. It's one of the areas that we struggle with a lot when it comes to that part. Like Rashida said, I think most people know us by now. A lot of people know our numbers. And also it doesn't matter like what time of the day. I work before work, during work, and after work with these type of things. So it really doesn't matter. And my number is on 060-846-5290 if you guys need any assistance.
Okay, so guys, there you have it. What a wonderful show. Wat ons nou gehad met Shida and Auntie Nicky. Hope to see you guys on our next potent episode of Onse Show.